We're staging for another half hour of nitro-fueled NHRA talk. It's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts with Marty Huff and 10-time NHRA winner Doug Herbert. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. Now, here's your hosts, Doug and Marty.
This is The Straight Line on Drag Racing. Thanks for being here for our half hour of horsepower. Appreciate you being with us. Better late than never for Ron Capps as he takes a weather-delayed win and as well a piece of NHRA history in the process. The burnouts are complete and we're set to launch another edition of The Straight Line. Wherever you may be, coast to coast, around the world, this is The Straight Line on Drag Racing on MRN.com. Along with four-time IHRA Top Fuel champion and 10-time NHRA National Event winner Doug Herbert, I am Marty Huff. Coming off the Brainerd weekend, which was a very interesting one to say the least, Doug. We have two events at once in the Nitro categories. Ron Capps on Saturday picking up the Seattle win, number 50 in his career. Quite an accomplishment for anybody to win 50 rounds of racing, much less 50 wins on the national event. It's just amazing.
Well, and we talked about it going into Brainerd. What were we going to get at Brainerd? Were we going to get a record-setting weekend, which they did, or were we going to get, Brainerd where everybody struggles to get down the track? You don't know. It's about a 50-50 shot there at Brainerd. So big win for 50 for Capps. I remember Capps winning his first race driving Roger Prim's Top Field Dragster at Seattle in 1994. So
it comes full circle, you know, and winning the Seattle event, but doing it at Brainerd. But the Wally will say Pacific Raceways in Seattle, and so I mean that's kind of a full circle deal for Ron Capps. Antron Brown just Antron
Brown getting a win, from from Brainerd and a Seattle runner-up, or did I get it backwards?
No, a Seattle win and a Brainerd runner-up.
Seattle win, Brainerd runner-up. Okay,
yep.
I knew I had that messed up.
Yep, but it's still a win and a runner-up, and
Seattle final that was held at Brainerd. Why did I get so confused over that? Antron won 374 over Steve Torrance.
All the time.
Steve Torrance went into the final with lane choice from the Seattle race at Brainerd.
Yep.
I mean, come on. Oh, my gosh. How do we keep up with this? We're just reading this stuff.
I know.
We can't even barely keep up. The other thing, and it makes me so mad, Matt Hagan set the record. That didn't make me mad. Matt Hagan set the funny car record at 3.82 seconds, and then the funny cars again had top speed over Top Fuel Dragster. Funny cars shouldn't beat a Top Fuel Dragster. It makes me mad. But then Jason
You're
Line.
lobby that.
I know. Jason Line back to his, the KB racing winning deal with Low ET and Top Speed. At the Brainerd event, and Angel, a different bike other than the Harleys. You and I talked about that a little bit. They're a little bit, there's some George Bryce, talking a little bit. Angel, hey, Low ET and Top Speed at the Brainerd event, that was pretty neat.
Yeah, fairly significant. But when it all comes down to it, the Harleys take the win. But what I think is also significant is Drew Skillman gets the win in Pro Stock, and we're seeing the rest of the field just about the time Indy came. And Greg Anderson talked about this a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was more a couple of months ago. He said,
I think when we had him on last week.
By the time Indy gets here, I think everybody will be pretty close.
Here's what I think about that. I think Greg and Jason are a little smarter than we're letting them on to, and I think they have a little bit in the bank. I just think they do, because I know those guys. They're smart guys. They work really hard. And, the Pro Stock field was crying, whining, teeth mashing, and all that because they've been stomping them all year. Well, they didn't want to go into the countdown and have them all of a sudden, change a rule or something. So I'm just telling you, it would not surprise me if once the countdown starts, that the KB team, all of a sudden, they find another little bit. Yeah. It just wouldn't surprise me.
No.
Those guys work hard at finding. Not that the other guys don't work hard, but I know firsthand from going several times to their shop and knowing those guys and being friends with them, they work really, really hard.
Yeah, and once you've got a lead like that, and you've got an advantage, you want to be able to try to keep that as much as possible. So if you have to sacrifice a couple of races.
Well, give everybody a false sense of security going into Indy, and then all of a sudden, bam! Well, actually, we didn't lose anything, and we we still have it. But it, I don't know. I mean, I might be just dreaming on that, but I don't. I wouldn't be too.
It wouldn't be the first time that something like that has happened.
You got it.
Yep. But it'll be interesting to watch that here in the first races of the countdown and see if that 300 to 400ths comes back at some point, especially here at ZMAX Dragway where the KB racing guys really do have an advantage.
They were over there. I think I heard some cars over here testing today. For our listeners, in case you don't know, the ZMAX Dragway is literally, I mean, you can't throw a rock there from here, but it's pretty close.
Yep.
From where my office is very close. It's probably a quarter mile. There's a gravel pit in between my shop and the drag strip. So I can't throw a rock that far either, but it's very close. We can hear the cars running.
Yeah, probably.
I think Pro Stock cars is what it sounded like today.
Driver 3-iron, probably.
Yeah, right.
In golf terms. Yeah, so it's pretty dang close. Speaking of which, our Seattle winner out of Brainerd in 50 wins in his career, an amazing milestone for Ron Capps, and he will join us next.
This is The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. More coming up right after this.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
O'Reilly. Has the summer heat taken a toll on your vehicle's battery? Count on O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Superstart battery that's right for your vehicle. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
I feel like experience kind of outweighs youth.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
Kyle Busch driving for his life right now.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
Our lives are so much different than what people may think they are.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Welcome back to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's more with Marty Huff and Doug Herbert.
Well, it's always nice when you win a NHRA national event, but when it's your 50th, that's something special. And here to talk about it is the driver of the Napa Dodge for Don Schumacher Racing. Ron Capps joins us. Ron, congratulations. A great weekend this weekend at Brainerd.
Yeah, how are you guys doing, first of all?
Fantastic.
Hey, man, doing good.
Good. We, it was a great weekend. It was almost an unbelievable weekend. A couple years ago, we got ready for the final round against John Force, and it rained on us in Brainerd. So they postponed the final round until Saturday night in Indy at the U.S. Nationals, which was bizarre to run a final round on a Saturday night in Indy. It was cool, but it was different. And we ended up getting the win, and that was kind of cool. So it was sort of unique to have the Seattle final rain out and then run that in Brainerd. So I think the fans, they lost a final, and then they got an extra final back. So that was kind of neat.
What about that, Ron? I was thinking about that and talking to Marty earlier. I remember you winning your first race in Seattle and Prim's Top Fuel Dragster, and then now you win your 50th race for the Seattle event at Brainerd. That's a little bit funny, but to go back,
it's kind of full circle
years later and winning your 50th race at the same event, really, as you won your first race. That's cool.
I didn't even think about that till you just said that. I mean, my first win was there, and ironically, the first win was a rainout in my rookie year in Top Fuel there in Seattle, and we ended up running the final round on Tuesday. I think I ran Connie Coletta, maybe Mike Dunn, and then I ran Bernstein in the semis, I think, on Monday when it rained. And then I think I ran Corey Mack in the McDonald's car for the final on Tuesday. So I guess I'm pretty good on rainouts in Seattle.
Even if they're in Brainerd.
Yeah. So that was, and I've had great success in Brainerd. So when they said let's run it in Brainerd, I felt good anyway because Tobler really gave me a hot rod to drive in Seattle. Dell was number 1 qualifier with an 83. We were right behind with an 84, and it was our quickest run all time, as well as Dell's. But we were quicker the first 2 rounds on Sunday there in Seattle. So it wasn't like Dell had us covered. But he did have lane choice going into that final. But the conditions we saw in Brainerd were as good or better, as everybody saw, than Seattle. Good overcast conditions and a great racetrack. So we were expecting to go up there and run 2 low 380s and have maybe the quickest side-by-side run in history. But as you saw, we both got in trouble with our cars a little bit, and mine happened to catch when I pedaled it, and we ended up getting the win.
Well, I'll tell you what, the car ran great, not only between the Seattle, but at Brainerd, you had the most qualifying points, and even in eliminations, 390, 91, 92, and a 40 light in the semis. I mean, that's hard to imagine you'd get beat with a 392 with a 40 light. What the heck?
It put 2 cylinders out and drove me over. Actually brushed the wall in the shutdown area. But it put 2 cylinders out way back at like 700 feet. And Hagen's car, it goes 330 miles an hour pretty routinely, so you can't do that and expect to get the win. But we were ahead of them, it it got down there 700 feet or so and just put 2 holes out on the same side on the right. So it really started driving me to the wall, and I had to make a decision to get out of it a little early, which he was ahead of me anyway, but I just couldn't see him. And I'm glad I did, or I would have probably hurt the car. But as it was, I just brushed the wall and ruined one of the headers on the right-hand side a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's not like you're not having shrapnel come off that car, or at least not the metal parts. But a lot of times we've seen this year where those Napa logos start flying with those laid-back headers. So this is kind of routine now for the Napa guys to having parts come off that car.
Yeah, it's funny that other teams have kind of wrinkled their decals on the side. Ours are just more apparent because our decal happens to be further back on the car where it says Napa, where that medallion is. It says Napa, and it is right where the header comes out, where a lot of teams, their main sponsor logo is further forward. That being said, we got Napa paint department working on a special clear that high temperature stuff that maybe we can get away without hurting the body and just leaving it paint. But, that exhaust is so hot coming out of there. So we've gotten better at it, and they found a good sort of a high-temperature tape that we put over the Napa sticker, and it's held on a little better. So we're constantly working on that part. They do a slow-mo freeze frame of finish line shots, which I've been very lucky to be in a lot of final rounds here lately. And when they do that, I'm sure our Napa guys at corporate headquarters go, oh, my gosh, there's like half the Napas on the side of the car.
No.
So we're going to try and fix that.
How about the way the car's been running, though? Tobler, you guys just seem to gel more and more as the time goes on. And, looking at the driving and everything, it's just like it's a machine. I mean, you got a machine over there.
Yeah. Gosh, man, you know how it goes, Doug. You gain confidence. The car goes down the track a lot, and that gives me more confidence. And I'm able to do stuff like that final against Dell. I pedaled it. Still went 401, which is amazing because 401 last year at this time was a pretty darn good run.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I'm so leery about getting too excited. I love what we're doing. We'll win a lot of races this year, but I've been here before, and we're starting that countdown after Indy, and I know better than to get super excited about how good we're running right now. Because there's so many teams that are good and will get good and get better when the countdown starts, in 2 races. So that's when it counts, and it's been great to do what we've done, but we really got to just keep it going. And I've got the confidence in my guys and Tobler. It's just a matter of getting out there and doing it.
Well, and I'm sure if you had anybody, you're not going to be telling anybody about it, but we're seeing world record runs right up until Indy. Are there any tricks on anybody's sleeve for the countdown, or is it, just throwing haymakers as fast as you can find them? Because it seems like most everybody wants to keep a little bit in the bank until you get to Charlotte and beyond. but it seems like just everybody's just throwing as big a haymaker at it as possible every single week.
Yeah, and we lost the championship the last time a few years ago by 2 points, and previous to that, Selzy and I battled down to the very last day of the season, and I lost to him for the championship by 6 points. So, those little qualifying points you talked about are super important, and we need to do that every round and not go on defense. And I think so when we go up there the way Tobler's ran since Epping, to go up and snag quickest run of the session every session, you do that 4 times. There's 12 points already. That's over half a round, and that's going to come down to the end of the season. We know it will be. You can say all you want. It'd be great to clinch something early, but there's too many good cars to not know it's going to come down to Pomona, and it's nerve-wracking, but it's exciting as a driver. So we're going to have to go on offense and stay that way, the way Tobler's been doing it, and just go out and just try and rip their throats out. But I'm not even thinking countdown, man. I mean, I've never won Indy, and I've come close, and that is all I can think about right now. It's all we're focused on, and we can talk countdown after that on Tuesday.
Well, I've known your crew chief, Ron Tobler, for a long time, and he knows how. He's like the guy that just picks at stuff, and he's good at getting those little points, and he's good at making the car go down the track and making the other guys beat him. But I think he's also pretty cagey and clever enough to figure out something going into the countdown, like, okay, we've got these clutch discs set aside that we know are going to be really good or something. He's kind of the guy that always seems to do that. Like, he's got a little bit to pull out if he needs it.
Yeah, well, I hope he does. It's sort of what their plan has been, and it's worked out good. We do have a clutch package that we are good to go through the rest of the countdown. That's not something every team can say.
Yeah.
As you know, those clutch discs are so important for a crew chief, and to be the same ones for the rest of the season is big, and he's worked real hard at that. But, it's as every year happens, and you could go out and win all these races in the regular season. You can be ahead at this time of the year by 200 points like we are, and in the past it's happened a lot, and yet there's always teams that come alive in the countdown and really haven't showed much during the season and maybe been kind of hovering back there and all of a sudden go on a tear. So we're waiting for that. We know that's going to happen, and you just go down the list. I mean, there's cars that aren't going to make the countdown that are unbelievable race cars. We know that the Coletta cars and John Force's cars are going to be a handful. So it's just we got to, like I said before, you got to just keep going on offense and keep pounding away.
Seems to me that the Brainerd format was pretty good practice for Indy with an event inside of an event. There's no Wally for the track's a shootout, but there's a whole lot of cash on the line and a 37-pound trophy at the end of it. You've done real well in those events inside of the events. What is the strategy going in? I mean, obviously, you just talked about you want to win the Monday event, but there's also a lot on the line on Saturday and Sunday as well. What are the strategy going into Indy coming up in about 10 days?
Indy's unique because it is we race on Monday, Labor Day. Sunday, which is a normal race day for us, Sunday is the track's a shootout, which is that top 8 qualify, kind of an all-star race. No points, just a lot of money. So that's always been a special race. I won that 3 times when I drove for Don the Snake Prudhomme, when it was the Big Bud Shootout. And it's always been that type of event where it's just dollar signs. That's all you see, and that's all you want to go out and do is win it like an all-star race. So a lot of teams are in Indy right now. There's a big test we do every year that's Wednesday and Thursday, today and tomorrow. We have elected not to test. We've done that in the past as well. We don't want to make more laps on a car with nothing that we really need to test. And it paid off the last time we did it. So there's teams testing right now. They're probably running pretty good. There is a chance of rain, I hear there, but
yeah.
Our plan is to wait and just get fired up for the first round of qualifying and then focus on that Sunday Traxxas shootout. And then once we're done with that, hopefully celebrate and get some sleep for Monday race day. It's a long weekend, man. It's like the month of May for the IndyCar guys when we go to U.S. Nationals.
Hey, Ron, one thing I was just thinking about that Marty and I were talking about earlier is that Indy points-and-a-half deal. Is that anything that anybody is kind of thinking about other than the guys on the bubble?
Yeah,
probably,
I mean,
huh?
It's strange because this is it's happened in the past, but this is the first time really we've clinched already the top spot. We're going to get the bonus 30 points going into the countdown. We're guaranteed to be the season regular season winners.
Yep.
So the points doesn't matter even for the Indy race. Nobody can catch us. That in itself is sort of unique. I know for us for sure. I think that's going to take some pressure off and just let us kind of go out and have a little more fun and focus on just kicking butt and taking the trophy. Hopefully, both Sunday and Monday. I don't know. I'll have to talk to you guys on Tuesday or next week or the week after, because it's going to be a weird situation not having to worry about getting caught or passed in points, and that's always something you do have to worry about. Who's in front of you, who's in back of you, and we won't. So it's going to be, as a fan, you guys as well as I know, we're going to be watching all this stuff where people are on the bubble and trying to get in, and points and a half in Indy, and it's going to be a lot of fun as a fan.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's always big. Hey, the other thing coming up here at ZMAX, don't forget about on Thursday night. Hopefully we can get you to come to our Breaks annual gala on Thursday night. We'll scoop you up and bring you over there to have a little bit of fun.
Yep, I'm going to try. I always have a Napa event that we do, a dinner, and I have yet to make it over there, and I've been dying to. So I hope I can make it this year. We're
going to scoop you up if you need it. I'm telling you. Hey, Napa Ron Capps, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you. And congratulations on the win at Brainerd for Seattle, number 50.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. What's the weather like there?
Hot. Really hot.
And humid.
Aren't
it's not
some
like
Pro Stock guys testing there?
Yes. Yeah, I heard some guys over there earlier.
Yep.
You know what the difference is here, Ron? It's 90 degrees and it's 90% humidity. It's not San Diego, Carlsbad weather like what you have.
Right.
We're jealous.
It's about 76.
Oh, be quiet.
Stop.
Oh, my
gosh. That won't even be the low tonight here in the Charlotte area. But when
I'll send you a picture of the sunset over the ocean here.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks.
it.
Yeah.
When you get down here in a couple of weeks, we'll be sure to look you up.
You got it.
All right, thanks. Ron Capps, driver of the Napa Dodge, 50 wins coming to this past weekend at Brainerd via Seattle. I think you know what I'm talking about. When we return, we'll wrap up another great edition of the show.
This is The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. We'll have more for you right after this.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
O'Reilly. Has the summer heat taken a toll on your vehicle's battery? Count on O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Superstart battery that's right for your vehicle. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. From work life to nightlife. From home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
You're listening to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now it's back to Marty Huff and Doug Herbert.
Big thanks to Ron Capps for joining us on The Straight Line. An announcement came out here just a couple of days ago from Coletta Motorsports. I'm going to read right off the press release. Jim Oberhofer is pleased to announce the establishment of the Tammy O Foundation, celebrating the life of his wife, Tammy O. Oberhofer, who lost her battle with cancer on June 18th, 2013. The Tammy O Foundation will be a donor-advised fund that will donate funds raised from the purchase of Jim O's book, Top Fuel for Life. The charity will send funds to organizations that Tammy was very close to, including Pandas International, Racers for Christ, DRAW, Infinite Hero Foundation, and Brakes.
Yeah, Jimmo, Tammy,
cool.
What a great, what great people they are. And Tammy never got to come to a brakes class. I talked to her, and she wanted to come. Yeah. And Ashley, they it just never worked out.
Right.
While Tammy was with us. So, but Jimmo's been my friend for a long time. Tammy actually worked for listeners to bring Tammy into perspective. So Jimmo went to work at Coletta's. Tammy used to work in the NHRA credentials trailer at the races, and then she ended up going to work at Coletta's, running the business of the race team for Connie. And, pretty neat person that she was. And what Jimmo's doing, he's a super guy.
Yeah.
Jimmo also going to be the speaker at our Brakes Gala this year that we were just talking about with Caps. Jimmo's our speaker and talking a little bit about his experience and how you get buried into your life, and it's hard to realize there's some things that you can't control, and you have to learn how to deal with them. And Jimmo's book, that Top Fuel for Life, is a neat book. Trust me, when you get it, I'm a big old tough guy and all that. Get a box of Kleenex because it's going to be hard to read.
Speaking of which, along with the release, it says NHRA fans continuing to purchase Top Fuel for Life. The funds from that will continue to go to her favorite charities, including Brakes. But you can purchase the book at the Team Coletta website, also the Patron merchandise hauler at the track, and at Amazon.com. So if you're interested, and highly recommend it. Great book. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of a tough read, but
or guess what? You can buy a ticket to the Brakes Gala, and everyone coming to the Brakes Gala is going to get, guess what? A copy of Top Fuel for Life book from Jimmo. So
that's fantastic. Speaking of which, the Brakes Foundation and a really cool event coming up this weekend in Memphis, or just outside of Memphis, with one of your great friends.
We're going to be at Memphis International Raceway in Millington, just outside of Memphis, with Clay Milliken. His wife, Donna, have been really working their hometown over there, and we're going to have a neat brakes classes this weekend. We're going to train a couple hundred teenagers about being safer and more responsible driving in memory and honor of Clay's son, Dalton, that was killed last year in an accident on the road.
Yep, about this time. It was about a year ago. So not only does that go on, but then there's also an event inside of
they
an
got a
event.
big drag race, big match race, drag race on Saturday night over in Memphis. So if you're in the Memphis area, take a ride over there. I don't remember all the cars that are going to be there, but there's some players that are going to be there running their, Top Fuel funny cars. Back in the old days, we used to do match race all the time. I'd go match race Shirley or Joe Motto a few times. Different bunches would do match race. I mean, that was what you did. You had an off weekend. Guess what? Go to match race. Now it costs so much to run the cars that it doesn't generally make financial sense to go do an exhibition race because they can't pay you enough to run the car. It costs, in the old days you could run, 3 or 4 runs and it cost you $10,000. Now, every time you run the car, a Top Fuel funny car down the track, you're talking about $25,000 or $30,000 per run. Hard to justify.
Yeah, exactly. But this weekend, one of the rare times that actually happens, and that'll be happening over at Memphis. A long-time stop on the NHRA tour at Memphis. So a great drag strip. And to be able to do that on a Saturday night.
Well, it's a whole racing facility. They've got a race. They've raced
circle tracks,
Busch cars or whatever they call them now over there. And it's a facility. I mean, it's a big racing facility. So pretty neat going over there to Memphis. We're going to have a good time being in Clay Milliken's hometown.
Yeah, and so if you want any more information, where do they find it?
Well, go to putonthebrakes.org, find out information about us going this weekend. Or if you're on Twitter or Facebook, go to Clay Milliken. He can give information on there about the drag race over in Memphis this weekend.
Big thanks to Ron Capps for joining us on the Straight Line. So for everybody involved, including Doug, Daryl Smith, and Robbie Mays, I'm Marty Huff. We will talk to you next week here on The Straight Line.
You've been listening to The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Tune in again next Thursday at noon Eastern on MotorRacingNetwork.com and the MRN app. The Straight Line is the show for drag racing fans and is brought to you by Hercules Tires. This program is also available on demand at the MRN.com Media Center, or you can download it through iTunes or Stitcher. The Straight Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.